Chapter 50 The Rabbit Bites in a Hurry. Dark Devil Tiger, second update, please vote for me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhou Yi is such a generous and kind-hearted guy. Tang Xiao and Tang Hao watched Zhou Yi walk away, deeply moved. A magical medicine that can change a marshal's soul, you can only imagine how valuable that is. They owed him big time, but it was all for their sister, totally worth it. Instead of heading back, Zhou Yi went straight to the Star Doe forest to get his soul ring, and to swing by and see Rascal Rabbit, her mom. The Star Doe forest, the ancient trees towered, lush and green year-round, always feeling like springtime. Outside her little cabin in the valley, Yenro was watering the radishes she'd planted. Rabbits love carrots, so, naturally, Yenro had a patch right outside her door. Easy snacking. Xiaowu wasn't around, which was normal. Xiaowu was too restless to stay put. Zhou Yi quietly moved up behind Yenro, watching her bend over her radishes, then stepped forward and wrapped his arms around her. Ah! Yenro gasped. The watering scoop clattered to the ground. She was about to unleash her martial soul and soul power, but then she recognized Zhou Yi. Why are you back so soon? Yenro glanced around nervously, afraid Xiaowu would see them. Because I missed you, Zhou Yi whispered in her ear. Stop it, Yenro grabbed Zhou Yi's wandering hand. Xiaowu could be back any minute. Get off me, Zhou Yi backed off, not wanting to push his luck too far. What do you really want? Yenro straightened her clothes, glaring at him. You. Yenro was getting flustered. Did he think rabbits were pushovers? Even rabbits bite when cornered. Huh, just kidding. Zhou Yi pulled Yenro into a hug and said, I've hit level 50, and I need a soul ring from a powerful soul beast. You know where I can find a strong one? The stronger, the better. You're not thinking of picking a fight with Deming and Erming, are you? Yenro eyed Zhou Yi suspiciously. Even though they were close, Zhou Yi was still a human soul master, and their relationship was like a cat and mouse game. How could she be sure that one day Zhou Yi wouldn't kill her for her soul ring and soul bones? Do I look like that kind of guy? Zhou Yi playfully pinched Yenro's cheek. If I wanted to mess with them, would I be asking you? I heard there's a dark evil god tiger around here that you can't handle. I thought I'd take care of it for you. The dark evil god tiger. Yenro's eyes widened, fear flashing in them. Even though the dark demon evil god tiger had only been around for a little over 60,000 years, she was no match for it. Deming and Erming could hold their own. The dark demon evil god tiger has over 60,000 years of cultivation. Can you even absorb its soul ring? Plus, it's super powerful and has all sorts of tricks. It's way more dangerous than Deming and Erming. Yenro knew Zhou Yi was strong, but the dark devil tiger was infamous. It was the ultimate villain among soul beasts. Herbivores like her were terrified of it. Relax, it's just a big cat. Zhou Yi confidently wrapped his arms around Yenro's waist. You know where it hangs out, don't you? Take me there. I only know its general territory. Shouldn't be too hard to find, though. Seeing that Zhou Yi was determined to find the dark demon evil god tiger, Yenro reluctantly agreed to lead the way. Soon, Yenro led Zhou Yi to the dark demon evil god tiger's territory. Zhou Yi's spiritual eyes scanned the forest. Even the thickest, tallest trees couldn't hide anything from him. Zhou Yi turned to Yenro suddenly. You. Yenro shivered, meeting Zhou Yi's gaze. She felt an inexplicable fear and uneasiness, like he could see right through her. Not bad, Zhou Yi thought to himself. He had spotted 2 full moons. Soon, Zhou Yi found his target. Gotcha. It was a massive black tiger, completely black with no other color, and its red eyes burned with a dark aura. It was over 8 meters long, with bulging muscles, probably weighing over 3 tons. The symbol on its forehead was also black, but instead of black fur, it was a dark, misty black. Most strangely, its tail was much longer than a normal tiger's. And it stood straight up, made of countless bones, with a huge barb at the tip, glowing with a dark light. Dark evil god tiger. Zhou Yi held Yenro close as she saw the imposing soul beast. It was a rare kind of magical beast, even rarer than the man-faced demon spider, almost extinct. because it was too powerful, it had trouble surviving in the soul beast world, which made it even rarer. Legend said that an evil god had touched a white tiger, causing it to mutate, twisting its original light attributes into darkness, sprouting black wings representing corruption, and a scorpion-like tail with the evil god's hook. The dark demon evil god tiger was incredibly powerful. Usually, soul beasts could be martial souls for humans, but not this one. No one had ever had it as their martial soul. It wasn't the darkness itself, but the extreme evil left by the evil god, something no human body could handle. If ranked as a martial soul, it would be on the same level as the seraphim. The dark demon evil god tiger was extremely domineering, and it didn't grow through its own cultivation. It was too hard for it to grow on its own. Only by devouring the soul power of other soul beasts or human soul masters could it rapidly increase its power. A 10,000-year-old dark demon evil god tiger might even challenge a 100,000-year-old spirit beast. Roar! That the dark demon evil god tiger spotted Zhou Yi and Yen Rou. It didn't know Zhou Yi, but it knew Yen Rou, a 100,000-year soul beast. She ran with Deming, the azure bull python, and Ming, the Titan giant ape. It had lost to them countless times. If it hadn't been so clever and talented, they would have beaten it to death by now. Seeing that Deming and Ming weren't around, the dark demon evil god tiger charged straight at Yenro. It wanted revenge. Plus, Yenro was a 100,000-year soul beast, and it now had 65,000 years of cultivation. If it swallowed Yenro, it might become a 100,000-year soul beast. It's coming. Yenro panicked. She couldn't beat the dark demon evil god tiger. Plus, the other one had a natural advantage over her, giving her an instinctive fear. The huge evil god hook behind the dark demon evil god tiger rose slowly, swinging gently behind it. Each swing sent twisted and strange halos through the air. Its body was black, but the energy it gave off was gray, a gray full of evil. Every step it took made the plants around them recoil, and the temperature in the star forest seemed to drop suddenly. It was an evil cold. Today, I'll show you my latest peerless swordsmanship. Zhou Yi let go of Yenro, the Lingshuang sword appeared in his hand, and a sharp sword intent shot into the sky, as if it could split the heavens. Yenro stared at Zhou Yi, shocked and dumbfounded. Right then, Zhou Yi was no longer the arrogant goofball who teased her. He was like a peerless sword drawn from its sheath, sharp and unbreakable. Roar! As if sensing danger, the dark demon evil god tiger roared, and layers of gray light formed into balls around its body, blasting towards Zhou Yi. Dark demon evil thunder. It was one of the dark demon evil god tiger's most powerful skills. It combined its magic with evil power, unleashing terrifying strength in an instant. It was a mixed-range attack with wind, thunder, and evil attributes. One sword opens the gate of heaven. The Lingshuang sword flashed, and fierce sword energy erupted. No fancy moves or showy effects, just a simple swing of the sword. The moment the sword fell, the extremely condensed sword energy slashed through space. With Zhou Yi as the center, the whole world was cut in half, like a heavenly door being thrown open. All of the dark demon evil thunder silently split in two and vanished into smoke. The terrifying sword momentum sliced through everything, heading straight for the dark demon evil god tiger. Chapter 51 The Sorrow of the Titan Ape, third update. Please vote for me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Roar! That the dark demon evil god tiger roared in terror, its body shimmering with light as it put every ounce of strength it had into defending itself. Its terrifying aura surged, sending countless soul beasts fleeing in panic, but it was all for nothing. The sword energy descended and effortlessly sliced through its defenses. When the light faded, a massive chasm split the earth in two. The dark demon evil god tiger was neatly cleaved from brow to tail, falling to the ground in two clean halves. Whoa! Yenro's jaw dropped as she stared in utter disbelief. Was that even human? Was he like a god? She looked at Zhou Yi with reverence. That took a lot out of me. Zhou Yi frowned, feeling drained. That one sword had nearly depleted his holy heart chi. He saw the soul ring forming. Without hesitation, Zhou Yi sat down to absorb it. Yen Rou watched him, still stunned. Seeing Zhou Yi easily absorb the dark demon evil god tiger's soul ring, she wasn't surprised anymore. With Zhou Yi's power, what else could you expect? Yen Rou believed he could absorb even a 100,000-year soul ring without breaking a sweat, let alone a 65,000-year-old one. Zhou Yi was just ridiculously powerful, scary, terrifying, not human, he was a god. The Dark Demon Evil Thunder from the Dark Demon Evil God Tiger. Not bad. Zhou Yi glanced at the soul skills he'd gained but didn't dwell on them. Instead, he checked his stats. Host, Zhou Yi, age, 22. Cultivation, Soul King, level 53, Spirit, Dragon Sword, skills, Sacred Heart Technique, mastered, 451/50,000, Golden Bell Cover, max level, Soul Skills, Fleeting Glimpse, 520 years, Horizon Within Reach, 1001 years, Gravity Field, 4,000 years, Tiger's Roar, Dragon's Roar, 15,000 years, Dark Demon Evil Thunder, 65,000 years, Techniques, Sword of Heavenly Ascension, 551/10,000, Grandmaster Healer, Perfect, One Finger Zen, Perfect, Immortal Steps, 0/10,000, Heavenly Palace Phantom, 662/5000, Enduring Tribulation, 11100, Lingbo Steps, 156/2000. Soul Bone, Wind and Thunder Wings, External, Unique Trait, Wheel of Reincarnation, Inventory, Bodhi Jade Tea, Blood Bodhi, Eternal Heart, Sacred Heart Quartet, Sacred Heart Trials, 7 Predicaments, Nahai Sacred Heart Mantra, 9 Yin Manual, Lingshuang Sword, 1 Yang Finger, Experience, 2656. Leveled up 3 times in a row. Awesome. Just awesome. Zhou Yi couldn't have been happier. Looking at his stats, the fact that he was able to improve this much was entirely thanks to the Sacred Heart technique. It allowed him to refine and use every last bit of energy. What's wrong? Zhou Yi approached Yenro, noticing the shocked look on her face. Don't you recognize me? He joked. Are you even human? Yenro was in a daze, unable to process everything. In all her years, she'd never met anyone like Zhou Yi, absurdly powerful. His strength far surpassed his cultivation level. You'll find out whether I'm human or not if you try me. Zhou Yi reached out, pulled Yenro close, and carried her over to a large tree. I don't know if you're human, but you're a real dog. Yenro rolled her eyes, speechless. She was helpless. She didn't know why Zhou Yi was so into her. Should she be happy about it? Zhou Yi had no idea what Yenro was thinking. He was feeling good. Night fell, stars glimmered overhead, soul beasts began emerging throughout the Star Doe forest, but since this was Dark Demon Evil God Tiger territory, they kept their distance. Besides, Zhou Yi's sword was so fast that it didn't attract any attention. His slaying of the Dark Demon Evil God Tiger went unnoticed. Are you done yet? Xiao Wu must be worried sick. Yenro's cheeks were flushed, and she glared at Zhou Yi. Let's go, I'll take you home. Zhou Yi casually stashed the Dark Demon Evil God Tiger's body in the Eternal Heart, picked up Yenro, and soared into the sky. Head out first. It's fine. We'll talk about it later. That's not the way back. You're going the wrong way. It's fine. I'm going to show you the night view. We'll take a little detour. Zhou Yi grinned. What could Yenro do? She could sense Zhou Yi's desire for her. 30 minutes later. Hey, bro, isn't that Aunt Yen? Ming, who was in the heart of the Star Forest, suddenly looked up and spotted Zhou Yi and Yenro in the sky. Huh? Ming looked up and saw Zhou Yi flying toward the valley with Yenro in his arms. Let's go check it out, Ming said worriedly after a moment's thought. Right. Let's hurry. Ming couldn't wait, and he and Daming quickly gave chase. Zhou Yi carried Yenro to the valley. He had taken a break to let Yenro freshen up. Mom, Xiao Wu came running out of the house and saw Yenro in Zhou Yi's arms. Brother Yi, what happened to Mom? She asked, shocked and worried. It's nothing. We just ran into the Dark Demon Evil God Tiger. Zhou Yi immediately shifted the blame. Dark Demon Evil God Tiger. What? The Dark Demon Evil God Tiger, Xiao Wu gasped, obviously familiar with its terrifying reputation. Mom, are you okay? I'm fine. Zhou Yi killed the Dark Demon Evil God Tiger. Yenro rolled her eyes at Zhou Yi and reluctantly went along with his story. Wow, Brother Yi, you're so amazing. You killed the dark demon evil god tiger. Xiao Wu excitedly grabbed Zhou Yi's arm, looking at him with admiration. Okay, Aunt Ro needs to rest. I'll take her inside. Zhou Yi carried Yenro into the house and gently laid her on the bed. Xiao Wu brought some water, then quietly closed the door and left with Zhou Yi, not wanting to disturb Yenro. Back in the room, Xiao Wu threw herself into Zhou Yi's arms, intoxicated. Brother Yi, you came to see me? Of course, Zhou Yi smiled. A day without seeing you feels like a lifetime, so I had to come. Brother Yi, you're so sweet. Xiao Wu was deeply touched, but then she said, disappointed, but you came too early. Mom probably won't let me go. It's okay. Seeing you makes me happy. I'll come back next time. Brother Yi. Tears of emotion welled up in Xiao Wu's eyes. She tiptoed and gave him a sweet kiss. Ming and Daming, worried that Zhou Yi would harm Yenro and Xiao Wu, concealed their presence and quietly approached. They wanted to catch Zhou Yi off guard, however, they sneaked into the yard and saw Xiao Wu kissing him. Snap. Ming clenched his fists. Those two idiots are here, too. Zhou Yi sensed Ming and Daming, smiled inwardly, and pretended not to notice them as he picked up Xiao Wu. He closed the door, leaning Xiao Wu against it. Soon, noises came from behind the door and Xiao Wu. Ming's breathing quickened, and he was about to burst in and kill Zhou Yi. Second brother. Daming hadn't lost his head. Xiao Wu was doing it voluntarily. What right did they have to stop her? Ming calmed down, he slumped to the ground, looking blankly at the shaking wooden door. Xiao Wu's voice echoed in his ears. Brother Yi. Chapter 52. The Z beads change and the rain keeps falling. Fourth update, please vote for me and Re. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The night was dark as water, and the stars blazed, while folks were tucked away at home, busy trying to expand their families. The Star Do Forest spirit beasts saw this as a prime opportunity to roam, hunting, foraging, but one particular valley, with its stunning mountains and pristine waters, was unusually quiet, almost devoid of spirit beasts for miles. In such silence, the slightest sound echoed. Even the rabbit's constant humming seemed jarring. Outside the cabin, the Titan Ape, Ming, sat slumped on the ground, his yellow eyes clouded with confusion and frustration. His heart ached, a pain so deep it stole his breath. Heartbreak. He longed to escape this place of sorrow, yet he couldn't summon the strength. Or perhaps, deep down, he didn't want to. He wanted to barge in, but what right did he have? He was a loser, and losers weren't entitled to. That jerk. Inside, Yenro tossed and turned, unable to sleep either. She clutched the quilt, listening to the sounds from next door, grinding her teeth. Damn him. Is he made of iron? Doesn't he ever need to rest? Beneath her grumbling, Yenro couldn't help but feel shocked and intrigued. He was too strong. That sword strike that felled the dark demon evil god tiger was unbelievable. Zhou perfected the golden bell cover to the 12th level, embodying the Vajra body, both unyielding and adaptable, tireless and limitless. She recalled Bodhidharma, enduring beatings and kicks from masters of all sects, surviving sword slashes, burns, and floods, remaining awake and unfed for 500 days, even drinking poison that would melt intestines, yet he remained unharmed, his spirit bright. A sensation in the martial arts world, his power shook the earth and earned him immortality. What did this mean for him? And he wasn't even using his full power. Boom! Suddenly, thunder rumbled, and thick, dark clouds rolled in, swallowing the moon. Ming looked up, lightning ripped across the sky, bright and blinding. Then, the downpour began, a torrential rain that seemed to collapse the night sky. Bang, bang, bang. The rain hammered down, the wind howled, and thunder crashed in his ears like a lion's roar, a terrifying symphony. Ming's fur was quickly soaked, but he didn't notice, remaining slumped in the yard. Brother Yi, this is such a crazy storm. Xiao Wu's voice drifted from inside. Yeah, now you don't have to worry about being too loud. The wind, rain, and thunder are even louder, so relax. Bad boy, Xiao Wu playfully scolded, oblivious to Erming and Deming outside. Her eyes gleamed, her face flushed with a touch of red. Angrily, she said, Brother Yi, why are you so rough? Even Erming, who's known for his strength, is nothing compared to you. Couldn't you be a little gentler? Click. Heartbreak, Erming felt his heart shatter into a million pieces. Was he now just a measure of brute strength? Zhou Yi stroked Xiao Wu's delicate skin, a wicked smile playing on his lips. I'm just gifted, Xiao Wu. Don't you like it? Xiao Wu rolled her eyes. Gross. You're hurting me. It's all my fault, Xiao Wu. You're so beautiful, I can't help but lose control. Zhou Yi said earnestly, that line sounded familiar. He seemed to have said it before, but who cared? If it worked on one woman, it would work on them all. Brother Yi. Xiao Wu lowered her head, shy and happy. Let's go to the window, we can watch the rain. Xiao Wu fell silent. Zhou Yi carried her to the window. Outside was darkness, only wind, rain, and thunder. Erming sat in the yard, unable to see them from the side windows, but he could clearly hear the sounds inside. The rain continued to fall, the atmosphere was thick with desire. Under the same roof, a heart was freezing over. He only let her go when he loved her deeply. Whether he wanted to let her go or not didn't matter. That was a cliff from which there was no way back. She had to love deeply. He had to let go even if his heart was broken. Had he forgotten the pain of loving her? Already densely packed. Erming, let's go. The azure bull python, Daming, sighed softly, winding his slender body and disappearing into the small courtyard in the valley. Erming seemed deaf to his words. He sat there blankly, lost in his own world. The rain in the star forest always came quickly. Unlike the gentle, life-giving spring rain, it was insistent and pounding. It lacked the poetic beauty of autumn rain. It wasn't like winter snow, which danced in the air before landing softly. The star forest rain was urgent, full of passion and raw energy. Bang, bang, bang. Pearls of rain poured down, striking branches and Erming's face. The cold wind howled, unable to wash away the pain in his heart. Night turned to day, the wind died down, the rain stopped, the thunder faded, the clouds parted. Another sunny day dawned. Zhou Yi stretched and opened the door, breathing in the fresh, post-rain air. Zhou Yi felt refreshed. He adjusted his belt and saw Erming, looking like a drowned rat, outside the door. Hey, what are you doing here? Zhou Yi approached the massive Titan Ape, feigning surprise. You didn't stay here all night, did you? Zhou Yi, if you ever hurt Xiao Wu, I swear I'll make you pay, even if it costs me my life. Erming's eyes focused, he glared down at Zhou Yi, delivered his harsh warning, then leaped away, disappearing into the small courtyard in the valley. Heh, Zhou Yi shook his head. He couldn't believe the gorilla had endured the storm all night just to wait for him to come out and hurl a threat. You're such a jerk. Yenro stormed out of the house, dark circles beneath her eyes. With your strength, you had to know Erming was outside. But you still went out of your way to tease Xiao Wu. Hey, wasn't I just trying to help those two dumb lugs move on? Like they say, short-term pain is better than long-term pain. Zhou Yi chuckled, wrapping his arms around Yenro. What are you doing? Xiao Wu is still inside. Yenro panicked. She hadn't expected Zhou Yi to be so bold to know. It should be said, he was only getting more and more bold. Don't worry, Xiao Wu won't wake up until the afternoon, Zhou Yi said confidently. That's still not right, get away from me, 2 hours later, Zhou Yi grinned at Yenro. Okay, I'm gone now. Just go, I never want to see you again, Yenro said weakly. Women, they always lie, Zhou Yi shook his head. He turned and left. He vanished before Yenro's eyes. That jerk. Yenro quickly used her soul power to erase any trace of him. Zhou Yi was none the wiser. This time, he didn't linger. He returned directly to Nodding City. He could say that he was returning home with a full load. First, his cultivation had reached level 53. In the original story, Tang San, the title Douluo, only improved by 1.5 levels after absorbing the dark demon evil god tiger soul ring. Although Tang San was a title Douluo, but the quality of Zhou Yi's sacred heart. She was higher, not inferior to Tang San's title Douluo, and even better. Being able to advance to the third level was entirely due to Zhou Yi's thorough refining without any waste. That was the power of the sacred heart technique. Certainly, these were small things. The various precious medicinal materials of the ice and fire eyes were enough to allow him, Erlong Ayin, to quickly improve their cultivation. Oh, yeah, the dark demon evil god tiger was supposed to have a natal pearl. Is it there? Zhou Yi remembered something and took out the dark demon evil god tiger's corpse, which he had casually tossed into the eternal heart space ring without much thought. Bingo! He quickly found a black bead, pulsing with potent energy, somewhat similar to a monster's core. Maybe I can refine it and boost my strength. Zhou Yi examined it before stowing it away. An hour later, Zhou Yi returned to Nodding City. Zhou Mansion instantly became lively. Yu Xiaogang and Qianxunji hurried over to pay their respects. Disciple bows to teacher. Okay, no need for formalities. Zhou Yi smiled, pulled out the dark demon evil god tiger, and announced, perfect timing, everyone. Today, we feast on tiger. This is. The moment Qianxunji saw the dark demon evil god tiger, the lingering death aura sent shivers down his spine. This soul beast must have been incredibly powerful when it was alive, maybe even 100,000-year soul beast. Oh, my god! Before Qianxunji could speak, Yu Xiaogang exclaimed. Teacher, is that the legendary dark demon evil god tiger, the most evil of soul beasts? Chapter 53, Sword Douluo was beaten and Bone Douluo was stunned. Please vote for me and recommend me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dark evil god tiger. What kind of soul beast is that? Lu Erlong was puzzled. She'd never heard of one. The dark devil god tiger is a top predator among soul beasts. A 10,000-year-old can take on a 100,000-year-old soul beast. Yu Xiaogang, eager to impress, exclaimed, this one has to be at least 50,000 years old. Zhou Yi corrected him, 65,000. Whoa! Everyone gasped, both at Yu Xiaogang's description of the dark devil god tiger's power, and Zhou Yi's estimate of its age. They knew Zhou Yi was strong, that his combat ability far exceeded what his cultivation level suggested, but this was insane. He'd killed a 65,000-year-old dark devil god tiger. Wasn't that title Douluo level? And get this, the dark devil god tiger was split perfectly in half, right between the eyes. The cut was clean, precise, and there wasn't a scratch anywhere else. It was clearly taken down with a single sword strike, instant kill. Teacher's truly awesome. Yu Xiaogang was filled with admiration. He knew his soul beasts, and he knew how deadly the dark devil god tiger was, and Zhou Yi had cleaved one in two with a single blow, terrifying. At his current strength, I doubt even regular title Douluo could stand a chance. Sword fighter Luo Chen was awestruck. He was also a little curious about Zhou Yi's true power, but as his student, he couldn't just challenge him outright. I've faced several 100,000-year soul beasts, but never a title Douluo. Zhou Yi saw the challenge in Qianxunji's eyes and smiled. How about today? Let me see how much you've improved. I'm ready to learn, teacher. Qianxunji was thrilled, his fighting spirit was ignited. They moved to the arena. Zhou Yi held the Lingshuang sword, standing calmly. Don't hold back. Use everything you've got. Yes. Qianxunji bowed, then raised his head, eyes blazing. Teacher, I mean no disrespect. The 7 killing sword martial soul appeared in his palm, and 9 stunning soul rings, yellow, purple, black, rose from his feet. Yu Xiaogang, Lu Erlong Ayin, Li Shirshir, Li Baishi, and even Flanders gathered around. On the edge of their seats, the battle erupted immediately. Zhou Yi didn't activate his martial soul or use any soul skills. He wielded the Duge 9 swords with effortless grace, one sword to break all rules, while the Duge 9 swords, the 14 deadly swords, and the Yi Jian had merged into the one sword to open the heavenly gate. He hadn't forgotten the individual techniques. In fact, merging them had only deepened his understanding, making him even more versatile. The Duge 9 swords were all offense, no tricks, just pure skill. As Zhou Yi attacked, terrifying sword intent and energy filled the air. Even Qianxunji, a level 96 title Douluo, felt the pressure. What the, Bone Douluo Gu Rong exclaimed. He had accompanied Ningfengji to ask Sword Douluo Qianxunji to return to the Qibao Glazed sect for the sect protector Douluo ceremony. After getting Lu Erlong's permission, he and Ningfengji had come in and found Qianxunji sparring with Zhou Yi, and Zhou Yi was clearly dominating. How can Zhou Yi be this strong? Ningfengji's eyes widened in disbelief, especially since Zhou Yi wasn't using a martial soul or any soul skills, yet he was suppressing Sword Douluo at full power. If he hadn't seen it himself, he wouldn't have believed it. Is this a soul skill Zhou Yi created himself? Bone Douluo was at a loss for words. He had heard about Zhou Yi's sword theories and how Sword Douluo called him a sword saint, but he hadn't taken it seriously. He thought Qianxunji was just obsessed with swords and had been fooled by Zhou Yi. He had come partly to knock Zhou Yi down a peg and make Qianxunji see reality, but now, his worldview was shattered. He had no intention of doing that anymore. Zhou Yi truly had become one with the sword, terrifying. He was only level 95 and no match for Qianxunji at level 96. And now, Zhou Yi was overwhelming Qianxunji. He wouldn't stand a chance against Zhou Yi. How strong is teacher? The more Qianxunji fought, the more frightened he became. Cold sweat dripped down his forehead. He used every soul skill he could think of, but Zhou Yi brushed him aside with nothing but the Duga 9 swords. It looked effortless. Teacher, watch out, Qianxunji warned, unleashing his 9th soul skill. He merged with the Wuhuan 7 killing sword and transformed into a colossal blade, aimed straight at Zhou Yi, boom, star. The terrifying force sent everyone reeling back, staring in horror at the descending sword. Lu Erlong, Ayin, Li Li Baishi, and the others clenched their fists. Even though they knew Zhou Yi would be okay, they couldn't help but worry. That sword was terrifying. The 9th soul skill was supposed to be a title Douluo's ultimate move. Facing it, Zhou Yi didn't draw his sword. He looked up at the falling figure, and with a casual flick of his right hand, he pinched the giant sword between his index and middle fingers. The blade, which would have sent any title Douluo running, stopped dead in its tracks. Caught between Zhou Yi's 2 fingers. Silence. Complete silence. Gu Rong, Ningfengji, Yu Xiaogang, Lu Erlong, Ayin, Li Li Baishi, and everyone else were frozen, petrified. Their astonished eyes were filled with unspeakable shock, horror, and disbelief. Thwack. Zhou Yi flicked his wrist, and the giant sword went flying backward. Qianxunji was knocked back to his original form, staggering back several steps. How can this be? His eyes were wide with horror, his mind replaying Zhou Yi's impossible 2-finger pinch. Unbelievable, terrifying, invincible. The Duga 9 swords are improving, but there's still room to grow. Zhou Yi was calm, showing no pride or excitement, as if he had done something completely ordinary. Yes. Thank you for the guidance, teacher. Qianxunji snapped out of his daze and bowed. Finally, he understood how Zhou Yi had killed the dark devil god tiger with 1 sword. It wasn't that the tiger was weak, it was that Zhou Yi was too powerful, and Zhou Yi hadn't even used the same sword technique he'd used on the dark devil god tiger. He suspected that technique could kill him in a single blow. Clap, clap, clap. Ningfengji smiled and applauded enthusiastically. Mr. Zhou's display of swordsmanship was truly eye-opening for Fengji. I'll never forget it. Young sect master is too kind. Zhou Yi looked at Ningfengji and Gu Rong. He had sensed them arriving earlier and knew Lu Erlong had given them permission. Following his signal, Ningfengji had already explained his intention. Now, he looked at Zhou Yi with a mix of admiration and awe. On the Douluo continent, power commands respect. Low-level soul masters address title Douluo as Your Excellency. Even though Zhou Yi wasn't a title Douluo in rank, his strength was undeniable. Zhou Yi had officially arrived. Chapter 54, Teaching Erlong Ayin, 4 Women and 9 Yin Scriptures. Please vote for me, please rec. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The tiger banquet was all set, a rare chance to feast on something like the dark demon evil god tiger. Probably the only one of its kind on the whole continent. Zhou Yi didn't stop Qianxunji from attending the Qibao glazed sex protector Douluo conferment ceremony. He even promised Ning Fengji he'd be there too. Ning Fengji breathed a sigh of relief when he heard that, after plenty of food and wine, Ning Fengji and Gu Rong left. Qianxunji stayed for a few days before heading out, and Zhou Yi would leave the same day. As Ning Fengji and the others departed, Zhou Mansion grew quiet, and Zhou Yi got busy. The dark demon evil god tiger was a top soul beast, rare and special, and practically overflowing with treasures. Besides the natal black pearl he'd already gotten, there was the evil god hook on its tail, powerful enough to be refined into a long whip weapon. Speaking of whips, there was also another whip. A real beauty, 3 feet long, like a mace you'd see some ancient warrior using. So, Zhou Yi grabbed a huge jar of wine, mixed it with some medicinal herbs, and made a medicinal wine jar as tall as a person. He plopped the mace in there to soak. Figure he'd have a couple sips every night. Even with the 12 levels of golden bell, it couldn't hurt. That done, Zhou Yi pulled out a white flower, a plant as pure as a white lotus. Immortal herb, the narcissus jade muscle and bone. Great for strengthening muscles and bones, clearing out those meridians. Mild stuff. He'd use this with some light wine and other herbs to make a medicinal wine for the girls, a foundation for their martial arts training. Then there were the 2 cold to hot immortal poisonous herbs, star anise black ice grass and liehua xingjiashu, combined with other ingredients to make black ice fire wine. He turned most of the medicinal ingredients into wine. Medicinal wine keeps forever, and it works wonders. It was a lot of work, and by the time he was done, it was evening. Zhou Yi went to the kitchen and got out a lavender fairy grass. The top looked like a lid, a Ganoderma lucida mushroom. Purple, with an emerald stem and 9 leaves. 9th grade ziji. Not quite a fairy herb, but great for strengthening the body, boosting energy, and just generally perking you up. Zhou Yi planned to use some to help Lu Erlong's health. In the original story, Tang San gave this to Yu Xiaogang to transform his martial spirit. Thinking about how Yu Xiaogang was now his apprentice, and how hard he worked, Zhou Yi decided to make some soup to help transform his martial spirit. Didn't want him embarrassing him when they went out, always being a loser. You gotta feed the horses if you want them to run, right? Can't let them starve. After making the Ganoderma lucidum soup, Zhou Yi went to Lu Erlong's room. Honey. Lu Erlong beamed when she saw Zhou Yi and stood up to greet him. Erlong, I made you some 9th grade purple ji chicken soup. Good for what ails ya. Zhou Yi brought the soup over, scooped up a spoonful, blew on it gently, and said with a smile, open wide. Lu Erlong opened her mouth and took a sip, eyes full of happiness. Honey, I can do it myself. She said. She wasn't that delicate. She could still hunt soul beasts, for crying out loud. Just relax and let me pamper you. Zhou Yi insisted, holding the spoon. Okay. Lu Erlong walked over and let Zhou Yi feed her spoonful after spoonful. She felt warm and fuzzy inside. Honey, she said, meeting you was the best thing that ever happened to me. After finishing the soup, Lu Erlong wrapped her arms around Zhou Yi's neck and kissed him sweetly. Getting late, let's get some rest. Zhou Yi kissed Lu Erlong on the forehead and pulled her close, ready to turn in. Honey, why don't you go be with Ayin or Shirsha? Lu Erlong said thoughtfully. Just being held by Zhou Yi, she could already feel a big change. No need, I'm staying with you tonight, and I'll be with them tomorrow. But. No buts. That even though Zhou Yi was being bossy, Lu Erlong felt cherished. She felt bad, just letting Zhou Yi hold her like this. He'd cooked her soup, fed her, was staying with her. So thoughtful, so caring, she needed to repay Zhou Yi. She thought about it, and suddenly, Lu Erlong slipped under the covers. Erlong. The next day. Honey, did my soul power go up 2 levels? Lu Erlong was surprised and thrilled when she woke up and realized what had happened. Could it be that Zhou Yi's also increased soul power? Nah. The thought passed, it must be the soup, the one Zhou Yi made with the 9th grade purple ji. She just thought it tasted good, last night. Made her feel warm all over. She hadn't realized it was so powerful. Her soul power actually went up 2 levels. 2 levels is nothing. I can help you improve even faster. Zhou Yi said, smiling, not at all surprised. It was a tonic soup made with the 9th grade purple zhizhi and other precious herbs. Of course it was going to be amazing, the real point was to strengthen her foundations and improve her overall condition. The effects weren't immediate, but they would last. Thank you, honey. Hey, don't be so formal. If you really want to thank me, how about something substantial, like last night? Zhou Yi grinned. Stop it. Don't say another word. Lu Erlong's face turned red, and she glared playfully at Zhou Yi. She still couldn't believe she'd taken the initiative, how it had happened. Okay, Zhou Yi chuckled as Lu Erlong got out of bed, face rosy, eyes shy. After breakfast, Zhou Yi called for Yu Xiaogang. Master, greetings to you and to my mistress. Yu Xiaogang bowed respectfully. Xiaogang, I found some 9th grade purple zhizhi on my last trip and made a special tonic for you. After you drink it, it should evolve your martial spirit and break through your level restrictions. Zhou Yi looked at Yu Xiaogang and motioned for someone to bring a bowl of medicine. It was the leftover soup from what he'd made for Lu Erlong last night. Even so, with Zhou Yi's master-level medical skills, this soup was sure to be better than Yu Xiaogang just swallowing the 9th grade purple zhizhi raw, like he did in the original story. Evolve my martial spirit. Break through the level limit. Yu Xiaogang stared, mouth agape, in disbelief. Master, did I hear you right? He asked, voice trembling with excitement. Because of his martial soul's mutation, he was stuck with the useless Luo Sanpao, unable to break through level 30, and exiled from his family. The pressure he felt was immense. Wasn't the main reason he'd become Zhou Yi's disciple in the first place to evolve his martial soul? The proof is in the pudding. Zhou Yi said with a confident smile. Thank you, Master. Master, you're too kind. I'll never forget this, even if I die. Yu Xiaogang was moved to tears. He picked up the bowl with trembling hands and gulped it down, then, he quickly sat down and began to meditate. Soon, his body glowed with a faint purple light, and a layer of black gunk oozed from his skin. Xiaogang's transformation will take time. Let's go. Zhou Yi glanced at Yu Xiaogang and left with Lu Erlong. He told the servants not to disturb Yu Xiaogang. Back in the backyard, Zhou Yi summoned Ayin, Li Shi, and Li Baishi. The 4 women gathered. Pairs of beautiful eyes looked at Zhou Yi curiously. I called you here today because I have something very important to tell you. Zhou Yi looked at their delicate faces. As he spoke, the 4 women, including Lu Erlong, grew serious. You know how I taught you about meridians and acupuncture points before? That was just to prepare you for what I'm teaching you today, how to practice the exercises. I call this kind of martial art wushu. Wushu lets you cultivate true qi. You can use true qi like soul power. It's different, but it works similarly. That the 4 women listened quietly, their expressions shifting. Curiosity, doubt, confusion. Words are useless. Now, I'm going to teach you the 9 Yin manual. Once you get started, you'll truly feel the magic of wushu. Zhou Yi didn't say much more. He began to guide them through the 9 Yin manual. Personally, actions speak louder than words. The girls had already learned about meridians and acupuncture points. Lu Erlong and Ayin, with their soul power, would be the quickest to learn. They could use their soul power as true qi to help circulate. After Zhou Yi explained it once, Lu Erlong and Ayin were able to move their soul power, albeit clumsily, following the route of the 9 Yin manual. After one cycle, Lu Erlong and Ayin's faces changed in shock, and they exclaimed, "Honey, what's going on? My soul power didn't increase. It actually decreased." Chapter 55 Yu Xiaogang kowtows to express gratitude and marries Master Li Li Baishi. Please vote for. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Honey, something's wrong, my soul power's decreasing. Seeing Erlong and Ayin's faces pale, Zhou Yi just smiled, calm and reassuring, and they immediately felt better. Don't worry, it's normal. Your soul power is transforming into 9 yin true qi, so naturally it'll drop. Just keep practicing. Lu Erlong is a soul sect, and Ayin is a soul king. Their strong soul power is their foundation. Like martial artists with deep internal strength, practicing the 9 yin manual is like standing on the shoulders of giants. Plus, with the elixirs Zhou Yi makes, mastering the 9 yin manual is a piece of cake. After each session, Zhou Yi also uses holy heart qi to cleanse their marrow and nourish their bodies, greatly increasing their potential. Holy heart qi can practically bring the dead back to life. Using it to nourish them. It's a total power-up. The whole morning flew by. Lu Erlong and Ayin are on track, having successfully learned the internal energy cultivation method of the 9 yin manual. Now they just need to practice step by step. Of course, the deeper their understanding of the 9 yin scripture, the faster their cultivation and the purer their 9 yin true qi. Right now, they're at the entry level of the 9 yin manual. Li Shishir and Li Baishi have no soul power, they're just ordinary people, but they're incredibly talented. Zhou Yi immediately recognized them as natural-born martial arts prodigies. Even though they aren't young, Zhou Yi's holy heart qi and elixirs have helped them sense qi and cultivate a trace of 9 yin qi. Alright, it's getting late. Let's grab lunch and continue this afternoon. Zhou Yi watched the 4 girls successfully get started. He felt a surge of pride. Whatever you say, honey. Lu Erlong, Ayin, Li Shishir, and Li Baishi were beaming, especially the latter two, whose smiles were permanent fixtures. They went from being ordinary people to being able to cultivate. Their excitement was beyond words. You're a godsend, honey. Although Lu Erlong and Ayin haven't completely transformed their soul power and haven't experienced the joy of cultivation yet, this ability to cultivate overturned everything they knew, especially the fact that ordinary people can now practice. This is an ultimate skill that could shake up the entire Douluo continent. Soul masters are highly respected in Douluo continent, but they're also rare. For example, Holy Soul Village has hundreds of people, but not a single soul master. It's about 1 in 100. The Spirit Hall has the most soul masters on the continent, but why don't they just take over? Because the Heaven Do Empire and the Star Luo Empire have massive mortal armies. Even though soul masters are individually stronger than ordinary people, they don't have an edge against an army. So, Zhou Yi's technique that allows ordinary people to practice and become stronger would be a threat to the status of soul masters. Zhou Yi would become public enemy number 1. The 4 girls were touched by Zhou Yi for teaching them such a valuable skill, and they vowed to keep it a secret, but it's not as serious as they thought. Zhou Yi has the 12 golden bells, which can handle any enemy. The soul master's soul power drains quickly, and they can be overwhelmed by numbers. That's why the Spirit Hall is wary of the 2 empires and won't go to war without being ready. But Zhou Yi's 12 levels golden bell cover is different. He never needs to sleep. His power is endless. If he wanted, he could fight at high intensity until he died. He could wipe out an entire continent. Teacher. Leaving the backyard, Zhou Yi saw Yu Xiaogang waiting outside. Zhou Yi had ordered that nobody was allowed to disturb them. Not even Yu Xiaogang. No maid dared to disobey Zhou Yi's order. Teacher, my spirit has indeed transformed and has reached level 30. Yu Xiaogang was as happy as a kid, falling to his knees, and crying with gratitude. I can't repay your kindness, even if I die. Please, accept 3 bows from your student. Zhou Yi watched as Yu Xiaogang kowtowed 3 times, tears streaming down his face. Zhou Yi was very satisfied. Get up and practice hard in the future. Dream big, and you can achieve anything. Yes, I will obey your instructions. Yu Xiaogang was excited. Now that you're at level 30, you can get a soul ring and become a soul grandmaster. Do you need my help? Zhou Yi asked casually. No, I wouldn't dream of bothering you. I'll go with Flanders. Yu Xiaogang said goodbye to Zhou Yi, found Flanders, and headed toward Star Do Forest. Xiaogang, congratulations. Seems like you were right to become Mr. Zhou's apprentice. Mr. Zhou. Flanders was emotional. He was still bitter that Zhou Yi had stolen his goddess, but he didn't dare to be disrespectful. Zhou Yi's current combat power is as strong as a tidal Douluo. even Sword Douluo was no match, he wouldn't dare to disrespect someone so powerful. That's right, becoming his student is the luckiest thing in my life, that Yu Xiaogang puffed out his chest, pride shining on his face, his posture was strong, he had all the confidence in the world, who would dare to say he was stupid to become Zhou Yi's disciple now. The sun set, the sky glowed red, in the backyard, all the soul power in Lu Erlong and Ayin's bodies had finally transformed into Jiuyin, but their cultivation levels dropped. If they didn't trust Zhou Yi, they would never have dared to do this. However, after they transformed, Lu Erlong and Ayin practiced again, and the 9 yin true qi in their bodies grew rapidly. It was 10 times faster than their previous meditation to cultivate soul power. The two stopped practicing, grabbed Zhou Yi's arms, and excitedly shared their joy. Don't get too excited. You're progressing so fast because you're recovering your cultivation. And with my elixirs. It won't be this fast in the future. But, with my elixirs, your cultivation will far surpass meditation. And the deeper you understand the 9 yin scriptures, the faster you'll progress. Although Zhou Yi said this, they were too excited to contain themselves and went back to practicing. Right now, they were like kids who got a new toy. Li Shishir and Li Baishi felt the 9 yin qi in their bodies growing stronger and stronger. They smiled brightly and were full of energy. 2 days later, Zhou Yi held a grand wedding for Li Shishir and Li Baishi. Chapter 56 Big Surprise, Ayin is pregnant. 4th update, please vote for me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Notting City is buzzing again. The Zhou mansion was packed with friends and well-wishers. Having already handled Lu Erlong and Ayin's weddings, the Zhou family were pros at throwing these kinds of celebrations, dressed in red, basking in the attention and blessings. Master Li and Li Baishi were overwhelmed with emotion, their hearts brimming with happiness. Their family had gone through so much, and Zhou Yi had saved them. They never expected to be treated like this, let alone have a wedding like this. The ceremony wrapped up, Zhou Yi mingled, shared a drink with some important guests, and then casually made his way to the bridal chamber. Even though he and the brides were already intimate, he still felt a surge of excitement. After all, the atmosphere today was something else. It was one of life's greatest joys. Zhou Yi lifted the veils, 2 lovely, blushing faces looked back at him. Husband, Li Shishir and Li Baishi's voices were sweet, the repeated husband resonating with more power than ever before. Master, White Lion. Zhou Yi shared a toast with them, and then they began their wedding night. The house was rocking, inside and out, the party was in full swing, all the guests were jealous of Zhou Yi. Zhou is living the dream. For stunning wives in less than half a year. He's an inspiration. Yeah, especially the Li sisters getting married today. They may be ordinary, but their beauty is off the charts. I'm green with envy. It's gotta be the power of the sisters, right? I think Zhou Yi's gone soft. Back when his spirit was that scrap iron sword, he'd practice swordsmanship every day, rain or shine. Dude was dedicated. Now that his spirit's evolved, he's traded hard work for, well, this. I think he's losing his edge. I wouldn't mind losing my edge in a situation like this. Zhou's made it. Can't he enjoy the fruits of his labor? Boys will be boys. To each their own, I guess. That the duel between Zhou Yi and Qianxunji hadn't been made public, so no one knew that Zhou Yi's strength had skyrocketed. Seeing Zhou Yi marrying beautiful women, countless people were annoyed. They thought Zhou Yi was going downhill. Still, now that Zhou Yi was famous, no one dared to openly criticize him. They just whispered behind his back. Of course, plenty of people were waiting for Zhou Yi to screw up. As the saying goes, it's not the sword, it's the swordsman. In a few years, Zhou Yi would be forgotten. Yu Xiaogang's words would come back to haunt him. Zhou Yi, hold up. Give me a few years to blow your minds. Tang Hao, Tang Xiao, and Tang Yuehua also came to the wedding. Zhou's one lucky guy. Tang Xiao and Tang Hao looked wistful, remembering their own first love, the goddess Ayin. It was a shame it never took off. Now, Zhou Yi was their benefactor, they couldn't begrudge him his happiness. That bastard's married 2 beauties. He'll be dead between their thighs before long. Tang Yuehua downed a shot, feeling a pang of envy, but then she thought about how powerful Zhou Yi was. Her little curse probably wouldn't come true. Yuehua, slow down, it's getting late. Let's head back. Tang Xiao and Tang Hao grabbed Tang Yuehua's drink and tried to reason with her, a total role reversal from before. This time, Tang Hao and Tang Xiao weren't drinking anymore. Meanwhile, Tang Lu, the powerful soul master assigned to protect Tang Yuehua, didn't even touch the alcohol and stood on guard. Last time Tang Chi got drunk and made a mess. Now he was paying for it. He wasn't about to make the same mistake. Let's go. Tang Yuehua put down her glass, stood up, and left. Tang Hao and Tang Xiao followed close behind, keeping a watchful eye on their surroundings. Tang Lu was extra cautious. Fool me once, if Tang Yuehua got kidnapped by a flower snatcher again, they were as good as dead, however. Around 4 in the morning, a flower snatcher quietly slipped into Tang Yuehua's residence under the moonlight. He was in as soon as he moved. Ah! Tang Yuehua cried out, bang! The door burst open, and Tang Lu, who was always on alert, rushed in, his 7 soul rings blazing. Miss, what's wrong? Yuehua, Tang Hao and Tang Xiao were right behind him, looking worried. No. It's nothing. I just had a nightmare. You guys should go back to bed, Tang Yuehua said hastily, a hint of guilt and panic in her eyes. Yuehua, rest easy. We'll keep watch outside. Don't worry, not even a fly will get in. Tang Xiao and Tang Hao exchanged glances, figuring Tang Yuehua must have dreamed about being kidnapped by flower snatchers, so a nightmare was understandable. No. No, I'm fine, you don't have to guard me. Tang Yuehua said quickly. It's okay, just get some rest. Tang Xiao and Tang Hao took Tang Lu outside and stood guard. You bastard, you scared me half to death. Tang Yuehua let out a sigh of relief and looked at Zhou Yi, who popped out from under the covers. She really wanted to punch his handsome face with a wicked grin. Didn't I miss you? Zhou Yi wrapped his arms around Tang Yuehua, leaned close to her ear, and whispered. Look, we've got the wedding room flowers, and candles. I'm here to keep you company. Hearing those words, Tang Yuehua's heart fluttered with excitement. It seemed she meant more to Zhou Yi than she thought. Little did she know, Li Shishir and Li Baishi were too exhausted right now. They were already fast asleep. Zhou Yi couldn't keep them up all night, and Tang Yuehua had come all this way and might have to leave tomorrow. Zhou Yi just wanted to show his affection. Yuehua, I missed you. Don't, my brothers are right outside. Oh. Zhou Yi was using the Heavenly Palace Phantom from the Sacred Heart art this time, messing with Tang Hao, Tang Xiao, and Tang Lu's senses, even if the room was destroyed. They wouldn't notice a thing. Otherwise, with them standing guard outside, Zhou Yi wouldn't be able to do anything. Tang Yuehua had no idea. Faced with Zhou Yi's strength, she could only grit her teeth and bear it. It was really tough on her, but Zhou Yi was getting a different kind of thrill. He wouldn't tell her the truth. The next day, before dawn, Zhou Yi quietly slipped away and went back to cuddle with Li Shishir and Li Baishi to catch up on sleep. Yuehua, are you awake? At 3 in the morning, Tang Xiao and Tang Hao called out from outside, fooled by the Heavenly Palace Phantom. They hadn't noticed anything unusual last night. Coming. Tang Yuehua slowly got up and got ready, but her eyes were red. She looked completely drained. Seeing this, Tang Xiao and Tang Hao knew Tang Yuehua must not have slept well last night and probably cried for a long time. I won't bring Yuehua to this depressing place again. That the two secretly vowed to whisk Tang Yuehua away from this place of nightmares by noon, to prevent her from being sad and having nightmares. In the carriage, Tang Yuehua was sound asleep, out like a light. Nightmares. She was having sweet dreams. Sad. She was happier than she had been in a long time. She looked like that because she didn't sleep well last night. She was just tired. Tang Yuehua actually wanted to stay a few more days. She missed Zhou Yi too. But Tang Xiao and Tang Hao had no idea and rushed her out of there. She had no reason to refuse. After noon, Zhou Yi woke up to Li Shishir and Li Baishi's shy and happy ministrations. Learning that Tang Hao and Tang Xiao had left with Tang Yuehua, he felt a pang of regret. He still wanted to play for a few more days. It was all so evocative. Never mind. Zhou Yi went back to his peaceful days and guided Ayin, Erlong, and the 4 girls in their cultivation. Ayin was a 100,000-year soul beast. Even though she had transformed into a human, she had to train from the beginning. But she had a head start. now the 9-yin manual was like a key, unlocking a Yin's 100,000-year soul beast heritage. The Yin's cultivation was growing day by day. She jumped 4 levels, directly to level 60, Soul Emperor. After reaching level 60, Ayin didn't need to get a soul ring. As a 100,000-year soul beast, she could automatically condense a soul ring, and her soul skills were her previous ones. Lu Erlong's cultivation had also improved by leaps and bounds. Reaching level 46, she was about to hit level 50. Soul King, Li Shishir and Li Baishi had just started practicing, but they were already at level 7 and would reach level 10 in a few days. Are we actually becoming soul masters? Li Shishir and Li Baishi were in disbelief. Soul master was the most prestigious profession on Douluo continent, but it all came down to talent. You had to have innate soul power to practice. Over 90% of people didn't have innate soul power. It was too hard to become a soul master. Actually, you should be called warriors, Zhou said with a smile, holding the 2 martial spirit little lions released by Li Shishir and Li Baishi in his arms. These 2 little guys seem to have transformed too. Yeah, I can feel Xiaoqing getting stronger. Li Shishir's voice was soft and sweet, and Xiaoqing was the name of her little blue lion, her martial spirit. Their martial spirits were similar to Yu Xiaogang's, having mutated into living creatures, but they were worse off than Yu Xiaogang. Yu Xiaogang had at least half a level of innate soul power and could practice. They couldn't do it before. With me here, I'll turn them into powerful martial spirits in no time. Zhou grinned. A thought suddenly popped into his head. A shrew. He glanced at the 2 gentle and well-behaved beauties. They probably wouldn't turn into ferocious shrews. Ayin, come here and let me check on you. Zhou waved to Ayin. He kept up with the girl's progress every day. Husband. Ayin Xian came over quickly, looking charming. After the examination, Zhou raised his eyebrows in surprise and delight. Ayin, you've got it too. Got what? Ayin was confused and mumbled. Congrats sis, you're pregnant. Lu Erlong was the first to realize what was going on, pulling Ayin and saying happily. Ah, I'm pregnant. I'm having a baby. Chapter 57, Kill a chicken to scare monkeys, hang the corpse on top of the city, and show it to the. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I'm pregnant. Ayin was a little stunned. It was unexpected, but made a certain sense. Given Zhou Yi's usual doting on her, everything felt normal during the process. Congratulations, Sister Ayin. Li Shishir and Li Baishi, beaming, rushed to congratulate her. This time, they weren't overly envious, because they felt their own turns weren't far off. After all, Zhou Yi was just as attentive to them. Maybe they were already pregnant, but it was too early to tell. Zhou Yi, holding Ayin's hand, was overjoyed. Even though this was his first time becoming a father, Zhou Yi was filled with anticipation. Plus, he knew that with the child's birth, his strength would skyrocket, and reaching the level of a title Douluo wouldn't be out of the question. So, Ayin began her pregnancy, receiving the same attentive care Lu Erlong got, and at night, Zhou Yi worked hard with Li Shishir and Li Baishi, guiding their cultivation and clearing their meridians, helping them become strong. 2 days later, Li Shishir and Li Baishi reached level 10. Zhou Yi took them to the nearby soul hunting forest, securing 500-year soul rings for each of them. They were ecstatic. According to the world of Douluo Dalu, they were now genuine soul masters. Even with just 1 soul ring, they were noble and powerful, exceeding over 90% of the people on the continent. Thank you, honey. Their eyes shining, they kissed Zhou Yi on the cheek. Don't mind if I do. Seeing their charming faces, Zhou Yi was moved. He picked them up and carried them into the soul hunting forest. Honey, wait. As dusk fell, painting the sky blood red, Zhou Yi carried the flushed and limp Li Shishir and Li Baishi back to the Zhou mansion. Honey, you're such a tireless worker. Seeing Li Shishir and Li Baishi's condition, Lu Erlong knew exactly what Zhou Yi had been up to and rolled her eyes at him. Work is glorious, and I love to work. Zhou Yi grinned, completely unfazed. As long as he wasn't embarrassed, no one else would be. Li Shishir and Li Baishi, shy, hid their faces in Zhou Yi's arms, avoiding everyone's gaze. Zhou Yi carried them back to their room. Days turned into nights, nights into days. A few days passed, and Sword Douluo Qianxunji came to say goodbye to Zhou Yi. Teacher, I'm leaving for the 7 treasure glazed sect today. I came to bid you farewell. Alright, go on. Zhou Yi nodded, saying nothing more. Your disciple awaits your arrival at the 7 treasure glazed sect. Goodbye, teacher. Qianxunji bowed respectfully, left the Zhou mansion, and headed for the 7 treasure glazed sect. The old geezer is finally gone. From a 3rd-floor hotel window, a gaunt man with pale skin and dark circles under his eyes watched Qianxunji's departure with a sneer. The news of Sword Douluo Qianxunji becoming a protector Douluo of the 7 treasure glazed sect had spread far and wide, with invitations sent to all major powers. Unless you were a reclusive soul master, you'd be aware of it. Zhou Yi, you dared to ruin my brother's plans and kill him. This time, you'll pay in blood. You married 2 more beautiful wives, huh? I want you to watch me defile them. Luo Yifan's cruel eyes gleamed with vulgar lust. He was Luo Yifan's younger brother, and his martial spirit was the Dinghai Shenzhen. More talented than his brother, he was now a powerful contra with 8 spirit rings. However, he didn't think Zhou Yi was all that strong. In his mind, Zhou Yi had used cowardly methods like sneak attacks or poison to kill his brother. As for why his brother was caught off guard, it must have been because of that beauty. Tang Yuehua, his brother, was probably distracted, enjoying himself with her. Then Zhou Yi seized the opportunity and killed him. This time, he planned to launch a surprise night attack, torture Zhou Yi, and defile his beautiful wives. To this end, he had been hiding in Nodding City, waiting for Sword Douluo Qianxunji to leave. Even though he was a contra, there was still a world of difference between him and a title Douluo. That's why he was so fearful of Qianxunji. Now that Qianxunji was gone, there was no one in Nodding City who could stand in his way. Night fell, the stars shimmering like water. In the backyard of Zhou Mansion, Zhou Yi relaxed in the hot spring, his head resting on Li Baishi's generous chest, with Master Li attending to him, enjoying the leisure. Lu Erlong and Ayin lay on rocking chairs beside the hot spring, gently swaying and enjoying their time. Honey, I've improved a level today. Li Baishi's skin glowed like white jade. Her fair hands gently massaged Zhou Yi's temples, her voice soft and melodious, filled with indescribable joy. Good for you, Zhou Yi replied lazily, without even opening his eyes. Honey. Li Shishir was about to speak when she saw a pale man with dark circles under his eyes leap in like an eagle. Lu Erlong and Ayin exchanged a quick glance, but remained in their rocking chairs, acting as if they hadn't seen the intruder, too lazy to move. Honey, there's a thief, Li Shishir said softly, pulling Zhou Yi's arm. Zhou Yi lazily opened his sleepy eyes, glanced at the sickly-looking guy, and drawled, "What's up?" As a modern, well-mannered young man, Zhou Yi didn't immediately call for his death, but at least gave the guy a chance to utter his last words. So this is how you live it up, huh? Luo Yifan watched Zhou Yi lounging in the hot springs with 2 stunning beauties, with 2 more nearby. A surge of envy and jealousy filled his heart. Why did this loser get all the beauties? Are those your last words? Zhou Yi asked indifferently, wondering if this guy was an enemy or something else. If he was an enemy, he needed to know his motive before killing him. Gotta cut the weeds at the root. Kid, you don't seem to get the situation, do you? Luo Yifan advanced, step by step, summoning his Dinghai Shenzhen martial soul, and 8 dazzling soul rings rose from beneath his feet, pulsing rhythmically. A contra, Master Li exclaimed, not expecting this thief to be a powerful contra. Still, they weren't worried. Contra or no contra, even a title Douluo would be brought to their knees. Now you're scared, huh? Luo Yifan sneered. Too late. Don't worry, I won't kill you right away. I'll cripple your limbs and make you watch me take care of your little wives. Remember my name, Luo Yifan. Luo Yifan's younger brother. You talk too much. Zhou Yi glanced at Luo Yifan, realizing he was truly an enemy. Do you have any other family members? What? Afraid I can't handle all your little ones myself. Bleck. Before Luo Yifan could finish his taunt, his smile twisted. He coughed up a mouthful of black blood, his legs giving out. He fell to his knees. You. He stared at Zhou Yi, eyes wide with disbelief. he realized he had been poisoned. He tried to use his soul power to suppress the poison, but his soul power wouldn't work. It felt like his entire body was being pricked with needles. When did you poison me? You were poisoned the moment you walked in. Zhou Yi shook his head, his voice full of disdain. But this poison only works when you use your soul power and martial soul. This backyard was Zhou Yi's lair, laced with countless traps. Forget Contra, even a Titan Douluo would kneel in minutes, and the poisons came from the exotic flowers and plants around them. The plants themselves weren't poisonous, but combined, they created a unique poison. Erlong Ayin, Li Shirshir, and Li Baishi, who had lived here for a while, took Zhou Yi's special antidote, mixed with the scent of the flowers and herbs. The antidote became a powerful tonic, beneficial to their bodies. Everything had its balance. Zhou Yi's mastery of medicine allowed him to maximize the effects of the various herbs. If you want a quick death, tell me if you have any accomplices. Zhou Yi hugged Master Li and spoke indifferently. I didn't think you were a poison master, capable of poisoning a contra like me. No wonder my brother died in your hands. Luo Yifan was filled with regret and resentment. After all his planning, Zhou Yi was a poison master, and he, a powerful contra warrior, had fallen into the hands of a small soul master in a courtyard in Nodding City. No one would believe it. Zhou Yi, I'm a cardinal of the Spirit Hall. If you kill me, the Spirit Hall won't let you get away with it. Luo Yifan pleaded. I admit defeat. If you let me go, we can forget our feud and I won't bother you again. Too much talk. Fine, I'll do it myself. Zhou Yi's patience snapped, and his eyes flashed with purple gold light, directly controlling Luo Yifan's mind. This was the first time Zhou Yi had used it since his eyes evolved. The effect was surprisingly good. Luo Yifan honestly revealed everything. If Zhou Yi had asked what color his underwear was, he wouldn't hesitate to answer, but Zhou Yi didn't care about that. Luo Yifan was, on the surface, a Spirit Hall cardinal, holding a high position and secretly engaging in all sorts of evil deeds, truly insane, enraging gods and men. Luo Yifan sometimes messed up, and he would clean up the mess. There weren't many members in their family. Just the two brothers. In that case, you can die. As Zhou Yi thought this, his eyes blazed, directly wiping out Luo Yifan's consciousness. Luo Yifan's body fell limply to the ground, lifeless. Honey, you're amazing. Li Shirshir and Li Baishi gazed at him with starry eyes, their faces full of admiration. From start to finish, Zhou Yi had destroyed a powerful contra without even lifting a finger. Even a Titan Douluo would have difficulty doing that. Truly terrifying. There's something even more amazing. Zhou Yi, no longer interested in the hot spring, scooped up Li Shirshir and Li Baishi, pulling them from the water. Honey, Li Shirshir and Li Baishi's cheeks flushed red. They knew what Zhou Yi meant and buried their faces in his arms, shy. Erlong Ayin, it's late. You should go to bed. Zhou Yi looked at Lu Erlong and Ayin. Alright, honey. Lu Erlong stood up, saying with concern, honey, this Luo Yifan was a Spirit Hall cardinal. Even though his death was deserved, there might be trouble if the Spirit Hall finds out. Should we dispose of the body and cover our tracks? No need. Zhou Yi shook his head, looking at Luo Yifan's corpse. Not just anyone can come to my Zhou mansion. Today, I'll kill the chicken to scare the monkeys, using his body to warn everyone that the Zhou mansion is not to be violated. With that, Zhou Yi kicked Luo Yifan's body out of the backyard and to the front gate of the Zhou mansion. Who's there? The gatekeepers were startled, surrounding the body, only to realize it was a corpse. Then, Zhou Yi's faint voice reached their ears. The flower-picking thief, Luo Yifan, will have his body hung above the city for 3 days for all to see. Chapter 58 Juhuaguan, can you block my punch with 20 years of skill? Ask for monthly ticket. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nodding City, dawn was breaking, and a crowd had already gathered at the city gate. They were gawking at a corpse hanging on the wall, pointing and whispering. Yu Xiaogang and Flanders, back from a soul ring hunt in the soul-hunting forest, squeezed through the onlookers and looked up. The first thing they saw was a corpse with wide, staring eyes. The body dangled in the air, and beside it, a notice. Luo Yifan, the flower-picking thief, an 88th level Soul Douluo and younger brother of Luo Zhifan, another flower picker, infiltrated the Zhou mansion intending harm. His body will hang on the city wall for 3 days as a warning. Wow! Flower picking must be a lucrative business these days. You're telling me a contra's picking flowers? Who's this Luo Zhifan? Luo Zhifan's the guy who snatched Tang Yuehua, the Haotian sect's eldest daughter. Apparently, this Luo Yifan broke into the Zhou mansion last night for revenge. Of course, the Zhou mansion's 4 gorgeous wives probably had something to do with it too. No wonder Luo Zhifan was so bold, daring to go after Miss Tang. Turns out he had a contra brother backing him up. An 88th level Soul Douluo is nothing. The Haotian sect's the top sect on the continent, they've got multiple title Douluo. These Luo guys messed with the wrong people. They probably never imagined they wouldn't fall to a title Douluo, but end up at the hands of Mr. Zhou. But isn't Mr. Zhou supposed to be a super talented soul warrior? How'd he take down an 88th level Soul Douluo? Luo Yifan doesn't seem to have any visible injuries, but his face is black and he's bleeding from every orifice. He was probably poisoned. So, poison did it. But what kind of poison could be strong enough to kill a contra? To be brought down by poison must sting, even in death. I guess Mr. Zhou's got plot armor. Luo Yifan timed his attack after Sword Douluo left, but he underestimated Mr. Zhou and paid the price. The buzz of conversation reached Yu Xiaogang and Flanders. Flanders scoffed. Even if he hadn't been poisoned, Mr. Zhou would have beaten him to a pulp. Flanders knew Zhou Yi had defeated sword fighter Luo Qianxunji and that his fighting power was insane. Let's go. Yu Xiaogang said little, pulling Flanders into the city. The news of a powerful contra's death in Notting City spread like wildfire, while no one in Notting City knew Luo Yifan. Powerful figures in larger cities recognized him as a cardinal of the Spirit Hall. Title Douluo were at the top, but Soul Douluo were generally the strongest anyone ever came into contact with. Even the 3 deans of Tiando Royal Academy were only contras. Wuhuan City, Papal Palace, Pope Qianxunji soon learned that. Cardinal Luo Yifan had broken into the Zhou mansion and been poisoned by Zhou Yi. This Luo Yifan. Qianxunji frowned. This was damaging the Spirit Hall's reputation. His death didn't matter, but the fallout did. Elder Ju, take a gift to Zhou Yi as an apology. Remove Luo Yifan from the Spirit Hall records, and dispose of the body. Qianxunji commanded. They couldn't leave Luo Yifan hanging there forever, it would make the Spirit Hall look bad. Yes, Your Holiness. Ju Douluo left immediately. This couldn't wait. If they delayed, word would get out that Luo Yifan was a Spirit Hall cardinal, and that would hit their reputation even harder. That night, Ju Douluo arrived in Notting City. He glanced at the body and headed straight for the Zhou mansion. Soon, he was face to face with Zhou Yi, offering the gift, apology, and the Spirit Hall's request to remove Luo Yifan's body. Zhou Yi was lounging in a rocking chair, Li Shirshir and Li Baishi massaging his shoulders and back. His eyes narrowed at Ju Douluo. Are you trying to make things difficult? I said he'd hang for 3 days. If I take him down after just one, what does that say about me? I've got a reputation to think of. Playing dumb was fine, but doing it all the time got you treated like one. Zhou Yi needed to show some teeth if he wanted people to respect him, otherwise, everyone would walk all over him. This Luo Yifan incident was his way of making a statement. Zhou Yi, the Pope has already extended considerable courtesy. Don't push your luck. Ju Douluo's face darkened. You're saying the Spirit Hall's powerful, and I should play nice, or else? Zhou Yi looked at Ju Douluo and said calmly, I said 3 days, and that's 3 days. Not a second less. Here's an idea, if you can land a single blow on me, you can take the body. Deal? Zhou Yi didn't want to start a war with the Spirit Hall, but he needed to show them he wasn't a pushover. He was going to use Ju Douluo to flex his muscles. Respect had to be earned. Yuguan, about to explode, agreed instantly. Deal. Last time, he'd been caught off guard and taken a beating from Zhou Yi. The sword intent had tormented him for weeks. This time would be different. One move. Did he think he could win again just because he'd gotten lucky last time? How arrogant. Today, he'd show Zhou Yi the power of a Titan Douluo. Go ahead. Chrysanthemum Douluo raised a hand, activating his velvet sky chrysanthemum spirit. Soul rings circled around his feet, 9 in all. 7th soul skill, martial soul avatar. Zhu Douluo wasn't underestimating Zhou Yi's swordsmanship. He went straight for his ultimate attack, merging with the strange velvet sky chrysanthemum. Purple light filled the air as a massive chrysanthemum towered in the sky, reaching for the heavens, filled with terrifying energy. The velvet sky chrysanthemum spirit was still a plant-based spirit, but its defense was incredible. In the original story, Dai Mubai had taken the velvet sky chrysanthemum and become nearly indestructible. If you can break through my martial soul avatar, you win. Zhu Douluo's voice echoed across the Zhou mansion. No need to get fancy, let's just do this. Zhou Yi shook his head, standing up. His entire demeanor changed, as if he suddenly held the world's weight on his shoulders. Zhu Douluo flinched. He hadn't expected Zhou Yi to exude such overwhelming pressure before even attacking. Before he could react, Zhou Yi moved. Zhu Douluo caught a glimpse of an afterimage as Zhou Yi's golden fist slammed into him. Boom. The shockwave ripped outward, centered on Zhu Douluo, and the velvet sky chrysanthemum shattered into pieces. Zhu Douluo was instantly knocked out of his martial soul avatar, blood spurting, and crashed to the ground like a rag doll. He tried to stand, but his body was broken. How can he be so strong? That he stared at Zhou Yi, disbelief in his eyes. Zhou Yi hadn't even used his spirit, or a sword, just a punch. His prized martial soul avatar had been destroyed like glass. An indescribable force had crushed him. He'd been completely defenseless. Who was he? Where was he? Zhu Douluo stared into space, dazed. Take Zhu Douluo to the Spirit Hall branch. Zhou Yi, watching Zhu Douluo's breakdown, ordered his men to haul him to the local Spirit Hall branch. Lord Zhu Douluo. What happened to you? That the Spirit Hall branch master was terrified to see the legendary Spirit Hall elder being dragged in like a dead pig. He was just a minor soul master. The only reason he recognized Zhu Douluo was from when he escorted Bibi Dong to Zhou Yi's wedding to Lu Erlong. He'd never expected to see him again like this. Get me back to Spirit Hall, now. Zhu Douluo ordered. The branch master didn't dare hesitate. He personally escorted Zhu Douluo to the nearest major city. Then, the Spirit Hall master stationed in that city would take over. As soon as they arrived, they found the most powerful healing soul masters to treat Zhu Douluo's injuries. They managed to stabilize him. But a full recovery wasn't likely. They didn't have powerful enough healers. They needed Spirit Hall. After even more detours, Zhu Douluo finally arrived at Juhuaguan city. Your Holiness, Elder Zhu is back. Where is he? Bring him in. Qianxunji frowned. A Zhu Douluo shouldn't have any problem seeing him personally. What had taken so long? Then, Qianxunji raised an eyebrow as Zhu Douluo was carried into the room. Chapter 59, Shocked Qianxunji for 100 years, Bibi Dong arrives, please vote. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What happened? Qianxunji dismissed the others, frowning as he looked at Judo Luo Yueguan laid out on the stretcher, completely baffled. Could it be Sword Douluo Qianxin? But hadn't Qianxunji gone back to the Qibao glazed sect? Pope, it's Zhou Yi. Yuguan, face flushed, spoke with hesitation. Being laid up by a guy in his 20s was humiliating. What? Zhou Yi? Qianxunji and Ghost Douluo Ghost, who were following, were stunned. Sure, Zhou Yi had knocked Yuguan back with a sword before, but Yuguan hadn't dodged, and it didn't really hurt him. You're saying Zhou Yi injured you? How? Qianxunji asked, puzzled. Even if Zhou Yi was a master swordsman, his power level shouldn't be enough to beat Yuguan like this. Pope, that Zhou Yi is seriously messed up, Yuguan said, still shaken by the punch. I told him what you wanted, but he refused. He said if I could take one hit, I could take Luo Yifan. So I agreed. I knew Zhou Yi was a swordsman, so I went all out and used my martial soul true form. What? You activated your martial spirit avatar and still got beat like this? That ghost exclaimed, disbelieving. He'd assumed Zhou Yi caught Yuguan off guard like before, but apparently not. they faced off. Yu Guan even used his martial spirit first and unleashed his martial spirit avatar. How could Zhou Yi have ambushed him? Chihiroji's cold expression now showed surprise. He'd assumed it was a sneak attack. He never imagined Zhou Yi could seriously injure Yu Guan head-on. Yu Guan nodded miserably. He was humiliated this time. Soon, he'd be the laughingstock of all the Titan Douluo. Pope, I can't believe it myself, Yu Guan said bitterly. I used my martial spirit true form, and then Zhou Yi made his move. No martial spirit, no sword, just a punch. But it was so fast. I didn't even see it coming. Then his punch landed. The force was unbelievable. My martial soul true form shattered instantly, and here I am. Then he had someone take me to the branch hall, and that's it. Yu Guan looked down and shut up. Qianxunji and Gui Mei didn't say anything for a moment. They couldn't wrap their heads around it. If Juhuaguan hadn't said it himself, and was actually lying here injured, they would never have believed it. Zhou Yi didn't use his martial spirit, but broke Yu Guan's martial spirit true form with a single punch. Seriously? Even Qianxunji couldn't defeat Yu Guan's martial spirit avatar with one move, let alone injure him. Only his father, Qian Daolu, could. What do you think? Qianxunji asked calmly. Pope, Zhou Yi doesn't know where he got his power, but he's too arrogant and needs to be taught a lesson. Ghost's voice was cold. He and Yu Guan were close, and seeing his friend hurt made him furious. Qianxunji was quiet. He didn't want to alienate Zhou Yi just yet. Zhou Yi was at least as strong as a Titan Douluo. He was too young to try and destroy since it could backfire badly. Sword fighter Luo Qianxin was also Zhou Yi's disciple. Dealing with Zhou Yi meant breaking with Qianxunji and risking the Qibao glazed sect. Wuhuan Palace could handle them, but the timing wasn't right. Pope, I don't think we should offend Zhou Yi. I agreed to take one hit. I got seriously injured, so he won fair and square, and I can't complain. Yu Guan hated to admit it, but he was defeated fairly. The priority is to find out where Zhou Yi's power comes from. Know your enemy, know yourself, and you'll win every time. Good idea. Qianxunji nodded slightly. He was curious about Zhou Yi's power. If he could get his hands on it, his own strength, and Wuhuan Palace's, would increase massively. Okay, go and recover. That's the end of this, Qianxunji declared. Gui Mei helped Yu Guan out to treat his injuries. Wuhuan Palace had plenty of healers, so Yu Guan would be fine. Looks like this depends on Donger. Qianxunji immediately thought of the best candidate. Figuring out Zhou Yi's secrets wouldn't be easy, but Bibi Dong had a good relationship with Zhou Yi and could find out what was going on. If she could get Zhou Yi to join Wuhuan Hall, even better. Teacher. Bibi Dong came to the Pope's palace in response to Qianxunji's summons and bowed. Donger, have you heard about Yu Guan being seriously injured by Zhou Yi? Chihiroji got straight to the point. What? Elder Ju was injured by Zhou Yi? Bibi Dong looked shocked. She hadn't heard about it, Qianxunji explained, and Bibi Dong was stunned. Zhou Yi had actually severely injured Ju Douluo with one punch. If her teacher wasn't saying it, she wouldn't believe it. How is Zhou Yi so powerful? Bibi Dong asked, curious. I called you here to ask you to find out how Zhou Yi managed to severely damage Yu Guan, Qianxunji said. Bibi Dong frowned. She didn't want to pry into Zhou Yi's secrets, but she couldn't refuse. She agreed. She'd just pretend to try, then come back and tell Qianxunji that she had no luck. Maybe she'd get scolded, but it wouldn't be a big deal. Yes, teacher. Bibi Dong accepted the order and left. After being treated by a healing Contra Soul Master, Yu Guan was basically recovered. Zhou Yi didn't use his sword intent, so it was easy for Juhuaguan to recover. The next day, Yu Guan and Gui Mei followed Bibi Dong to Nodding City. Meanwhile, the news of Ju Douluo Juhuaguan's injury at the hands of Zhou Yi spread among the major powers in Douluo continent. I didn't think Brother Zhou was so powerful. He even injured Ju Douluo. That when Tang Hao heard, he was shocked and checked the details repeatedly. I heard Ju Douluo had to be carried out. Tang Xiao laughed. Although the Haotian sect and Wuhuan Palace weren't openly fighting, there was plenty of competition. They were happy to see Yu Guan embarrassed. Qibao glazed sect. Ju Douluo messed with the wrong guy this time. Qianxunji wasn't as shocked as others because he'd seen Zhou Yi's strength for himself. Even Qianxunji couldn't beat him, let alone Zhu Douluo. You thought you could act tough while I was gone? The teacher is the scariest, Qianxunji said dismissively, referring to Luo Yifan. No one will bother Mr. Zhou after this. Qianxunji smiled slightly. Blue Lightning Overlord Sect. I knew Zhou Yi had potential, but I didn't expect him to rise so fast. Yu Xiaogang looked shocked and impressed. Zhou Yi had potential in sword fighter Luo Qianxin, but his strength was limited. Strength was fundamental. They saw Zhou Yi as a promising junior, but Zhou Yi severely damaged Zhu Douluo. They could no longer think of Zhou Yi as a junior. Any titled Douluo was a powerful figure at the top of the continent. No one could underestimate him. While the major powers discussed Zhou Yi, Bibi Dong brought Zhu Douluo Juhuaguan and Ghost Douluo Ghost to Nodding City.